This is a Headgum podcast.
Could you just tell us a little bit about what the weather's going to be tomorrow?
Okay. Well, we've got a chance of sun, rays, and sun. That's right. And everybody get your umbrellas out because this time it's sun, and you'll bet it's coming high and wide. And that's a laughs for. And you're on it. Do it. Prayer.
Oh my God.
Start recording right now.
Yeah.
And then we'll just kind of get into how excited we are to catch up.
I am excited to catch up with you.
This entire podcast was designed so that Liz and I could just catch up with each other because we're working moms.
We sure are. Not to brag, but deep brag.
Not to brag, but we've reproduced and we're employed.
That's right.
I feel like a lot has transpired in the last couple of months.
I agree.
For both of us in
both
different
of us.
ways.
It's true.
But it's not like I haven't seen you, but we've only seen each other at sort of high stakes big parties.
We saw each other last Saturday night at a party at our friend's house.
We were at a party at our friend's house. You looked stunned.
By the way, you look stunned.
Well, I did panic buy a dress from Ola Johnson that morning because I felt like the level of fashion at that party was going to be quite high.
It was high.
But I feel like you are the perfect person to know how badly I am at dressing myself because you're the first person I saw as I walked in the door and the buttons on the top of my dress did come undone and my boobs were out. And you were like, big choice. And I was like, that's not on purpose. But I was glad it was you.
Great to see you guys. And
proud of them all.
You looked great.
Thanks.
It just looked like you were ready to party.
I had to Hollywood tape so many aspects of that dress because it was buttons all the way down. And then various buttons were bursting out. Anyway, we can move on.
Couldn't tell. But we saw each other at this party on Saturday. It was great to see you, but we're at a party. We're not going to be able to catch up. We're not going to really be able to get in there as we like to do.
And I did end up getting too drunk.
You got a little too drunk?
I got a little too drunk, or as I said to our friend, somewhere in the middle of that party, I lost the horizon line.
But it gets tricky, though, because when you're at a party and it was lovely, it was at our friend's wonderful home, and there was a bartender. And when there's a bartender at a home party, I feel like
so elevated.
That pour is a heavy pour.
Well,
it's a heavy pour.
I'm coming at this from a different angle because what was making me lose the horizon line was that the cups that she was serving in were all so tall. And I was ordering martinis, you know what I'm talking about. And so it was like a glass the size of a tall water glass. So then the martini in the water glass looked like nothing.
Right.
And I was like, this is nothing.
Yes, it's like,
Cut
totally get it.
Home late from the party. I'm talking 9:45. And walked in knowing I was going to throw up.
Wow.
I have to throw up before I go to bed.
Can I make you feel a little better?
Yes, please.
Okay. So the time before that we saw each other.
Oh, yes, please.
Was also a party.
A high stakes party.
A very high stakes party.
Well, can we just say what it was?
I think we can. It was the Los Angeles premiere for my television show, No Good Deed. No Good Deed.
Streaming now on Netflix. It's a hit.
It's currently streaming. Thank you for saying that. So we were at the premiere. Jessi Klein came in support like a nice dear friend. And truth, I had a cold because I have a toddler. So I always have a cold.
So now you're endlessly sick.
I'm just endlessly sick because I have a 2-year-old. And I had a cold and I took cold medicine, not realizing that you also then don't drink on top of that.
Which cold medicine was it? Was it like an Advil cold and sinus, which they make meth out of, and that's why it's behind the counter?
Would have helped to know that 2 weeks ago.
That's my favorite one. That's the only one that works.
I think it was Advil multi-symptom, which could potentially be even stronger.
I think they make meth out of that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I made meth out of myself that night. I made quite a meth out of myself because I had cold medicine. I had a drink, let's be very clear, a drink and 3/4, not even 2 drinks.
Sure.
And when you laid...
That's less than what I had at the other party because I had about 8.
That's fair. I'm also a lightweight. I'm a lightweight.
You're very small, petite.
I'm a petite-sized person. When you lay down after a night like that, And your stomach is trying to have a conversation with you that you're not willing to listen to.
Yeah.
And my stomach was like, I don't feel good. I don't feel good. And I was like, shut up. So 3 o'clock in the morning.
Do you know who I am?
And my stomach was like, yeah, you're the bitch that just fucked me.
Oh, I made the show you just saw.
Stomach didn't care.
Stomach
so 3 o'clock
care.
in the morning, I'll meet you in the toilet. And yeah,
That
I
does
sure
make me
did.
feel better.
I sure did go pukey. And I didn't understand what was happening because I'm like, I had a drink and a half. And then it occurred to me, oh, I bet you're not supposed to do this on cold medicine.
Yeah.
So this is really just a special episode to teach you, our dear listener,
one to grow on.
Don't take cold medicine and then have a drink and a half.
But there was a little bit of a part of me, I will say, that like when I didn't know you leaning so hard into the barfing.
Same.
But like coming home and throwing up after a party at age, I'll say it, 49. There was a little part of me that was like, still got it. Like living, like I'm here. I'm doing it.
You know what?
Worth it.
You gotta find the silver
Rev
lining.
on.
You got.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of the right catch line with the right makeup.
Is that CoverGirl or is that worth? Is it Revlon?
You're
worth all of it.
You did it right, gorgeous.
Yes. Emphasis on gorge.
So that's where we last saw you. Oh, the one other thing I will say. Was it just our friend Celeste?
Yes.
Or was it also you who saw me at your party? Speaking of my drinking problem, lightly trying to shoot my shot with Luke Wilson.
Didn't see it. Love to hear about it though.
I mean, you haven't seen a missile plunge into the ocean like that since, I don't know.
I'd like to hear what your approach was with Luke Wilson.
It was just, I went to, you saw it? Vanessa saw it and you remarked upon it.
We'll bring it back.
We'll bring it back. No, I went to the bar because I only had 4 drinks and I needed 5. And he was at the bar at the same time. And I'm not, you know me, I'm not a star fucker, but I guess I was going to try to fuck the star. You had told me he was so nice.
He is so nice.
And
He's wonderful.
He seems so nice.
He's a great guy. I don't, to be honest, I don't know. We haven't delved totally into our personal lives, but to my knowledge, he's certainly not married.
I just was I just found myself next to him. And like in those moments, I feel like I always just ask myself, like, well, what if this was just like a normal person?
Yeah.
What am I not going to be like, hi?
Yeah, cute, you know?
Truthfully, I probably wouldn't say hi. But no, we were shoulder to shoulder. Or it was like, oh, you go first, you go first. And then I just was like, I don't know. I was like, I'm special too. I don't know. I was like,
is that your opening line to him?
No, yeah. I started a little fight. I was like, what, you think you're better than me? No, I said, I was like, oh, hey, you were great in the show.
Oh,
he is.
He is great.
So great in the show.
Luke Wilson
so
is one
funny.
of the stars of No Good Deed, by the way.
One of the stars of No Good Deed. I said, you were great in the show. And he was like, "Oh, thank you so much." And this is where the shots started going down.
Okay.
And I think I was just like, "You're so funny," and he was like, "Thank you."
Okay.
And then I started to lightly sweat.
Okay.
And then he participated.
All right.
And he said, How are you here? Probably wondering, should she be thrown out? Is this an intruder? And I said, I'm very good friends with Liz Feldman. And I wanted that to land harder than it did.
Didn't care.
If I'm being, I wanted him to kind of come to life when he realized I'm of his circle.
Right.
And I would say right about then is when his drink landed, and he seemed to, Vanessa, I believe it was, walk away.
Well, you know what? It's very possible that he's very shy.
There's nothing you can say that's going to make it better.
All right.
He wasn't interested, and that's fine. And not for everybody.
I could do a follow-up, but I won't.
Big flavor.
You are a big flavor. But
I am?
Can't win.
Wait, okay, but this is a good segue into what I actually really needed a friend for.
Thank you.
This is where, and I just need as many hot takes as I can get because
If this is about dating, I'm all ears. Please.
spoiler alert, it is. So I have just joined a little dating app called Raya.
Yes, please.
Having graduated from the hoi polloi on Hinge. I don't know. I'm a rat. I don't know what I'm doing.
You're
Someone
doing
said
great.
try Raya. It's like supposed to be like a more curated group of creatives.
Okay, fancy Hollywood types.
It's not all Hollywood types.
Okay.
There are some entrepreneurs
Okay.
in the pharmaceutical space
Oh,
and
okay.
some healers.
Oh, well, I'm out. No, just kidding.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I am just joined in a very open-hearted, just welcoming in whatever happens.
By the way, something I really love about you, you are a very open-hearted person, and you are open, and you're like, let's see how something's going to go. You're a risk taker, my friend.
That's very nice of
Yeah.
you. I don't know if putting a picture of yourself from Getty Images on a dating app is really taking a risk, but
It's taking a risk with Getty.
Anyway, so and then I will say, like, so the first like couple weeks it was Cricket City. Nothing coming
Really?
in. Yeah.
Not even like a wink or I don't know how it works. A thumbs up.
Like pulling up the lobster trap at Seaweed.
Okay,
it's
got
nothing.
it. Got it. Just to be clear, I've been in a relationship for 16 years,
Yes,
so I
you're a
didn't
married
ever
woman.
have to do the like swipey.
You never did this.
Clicky,
You were
clicky.
analog only.
Yeah, analog
Well,
only.
I had never done swipey, clicky, clicky until I got divorced. Oh, bummer.
Not for the men out there. It's not a bummer for the men out there.
Tell it to Luke Wilson. Still,
I would. He
I
wouldn't
don't
listen.
feel like he stopped driving his car. I think he's been speeding away ever since that night. He's not far enough away. But anywho, so it was like nothing in Lobster Trap, and then this one gent.
Oh.
Actually, no, I did like him, and then he liked me back.
And can you see each other
We
only
swear-
if you like each other, or
No, you can see each other, and then if you both like, you can chat.
oh, that's how it works. Okay, got it. Okay.
So, this gentleman here, I'm not looking for much. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I'm not looking for someone young. I'm looking for an older gentleman.
And you're looking for somebody older than you, preferably.
But I mean, I would like someone around my age. I'm
Okay.
not trying to date some like
28-year-old.
28-year-old.
Yes.
I was about to say the word gigolo, and then I feel like that's not a word anymore.
I don't think people use
No,
that.
it's
I
not
love
a
it.
word.
I know what it
himbo.
A himbo?
No, I just
No.
want like a gainfully employed, in any sense,
Good person.
good person.
Yeah.
I mean, are they ideally a British Jew? Yes. But anyway, so we start having a chat,
Yeah.
and the chat is nice, and he seems like he's got some self-awareness. There's some humor happening.
Is he British and or Jewish?
He's Jewish.
Okay.
I don't want to do too much identification because I don't want to make anyone feel bad.
Fair. Totally fair. We
and
could also
he-
give him a name and refer to him as that name from here on out.
Raya guy.
Raya guy.
He's an
Okay.
architect, but
Okay.
he used to be a musician.
Okay.
And he still does music, I guess. I'm like, that's great.
I love that.
A creative hobby.
Yeah.
And then chat. And then we're going to do a date. And he was like, oh, we could do it on this day. I might be running late. He was like, this is a little embarrassing to admit, but I'm going to a studio to do some recording of my music. But I might be running a little late, but like, could that day work? I was like, totally. And no pressure.
Okay.
So it's all going well.
Yeah.
I'm excited to meet this gentleman. So then the day of the date comes. I'm mildly excited. It's going to be my first Raya date. I'm like, what to wear? Starting to think about it. So then, okay, so, now it's going to be like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then he texts and he's like, or he voice texts and then texts.
Okay.
Slight panic.
Ooh.
Not panic, but he's like, I'm so sorry. I think I bit off more than I can chew for the day, which is okay. He's
it.
like, I'm just running late because I was at the studio too long, and if I have to go back to my house, he's like, is there any way we could do a different night? I do feel the vague pang of joy you feel when like a plan is canceled.
Yeah. No, that's a real thing. It's a real.
Okay, so then here's where I need
Thing.
the hot take.
Uh-huh.
So he's like, I'm so sorry, can we switch? And I was like, absolutely. Because I had also canceled once.
How many hours before the date is this?
I I don't know, 3 or 4. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I had already canceled once.
You had already
so then
canceled once.
So I'm like,
Okay.
don't even worry about it. We'll absolutely do it another day. No sweat.
Mm-hmm.
And then he texts again and he goes, I hope this isn't cringe, but here's what I recorded today.
No. Nope.
And he sends through, I'm going to call it an MP3.
Oh, dear Lord.
And it's the song that he recorded. Now, I'll call it a tidal wave of ick.
Yep.
Just not even, I was like, I don't know what to do.
It's feeling a little 3 a.m. in here, is all I got to tell you. I'm laying in bed and my stomach is talking to me.
I think, and again, he's been very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, by you sending me your song, you're now putting, this is how I felt, but tell me if this makes me a piece of shit. I was like, I feel like I'm already the girl who has to tell you I like your song. I like your band.
Eesh.
And that feels, it's like, do you remember that when you two like put their whole album on our phone, on like
your
our iPhones?
iPods? Yeah.
Whether you wanted it or not.
Yep. Consent is very
and God
important.
bless, great band.
Yep. Yeah.
But I was like, I felt like a lot.
I mean, this is a lot, Jessi. You're laying a lot
So
on me right now.
I had this moment where I was like, I don't know. And we had already agreed, we'll do it another day. And then the song came through.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, do I need to be like, hey, cool tune?
Well, I have a lot of questions.
And then part of me was like, I am too old to be put in a position to have to be like, love, like you're groupie already. I just chose to write back nothing to the song.
Mm-hmm.
And then he never wrote me again.
This is
To
chilling.
which I then am asking, I'll put it to the room. Am I the jerk
No.
or is he the jerk?
Perhaps before I even get into this, I should ask, did you listen to the song?
Fantastic question. So I had a moment where I had to like really pray on it for a few minutes about whether I was going to listen. And then I listened.
And then God's like, this is not what I'm for.
to God's like, are you looking at what's going on in the world? Shut the fuck up. No, and then I listened and I didn't listen to the whole thing. I listened to the first few bars. There seemed to be a woman singing involved, like it wasn't just him. There was an arrangement, and it was fine. It wasn't bad.
Okay.
But it did start to then be about love. And I was just like, this is not, I feel like I'm being checkmated into responding, and that feels bad to me.
It's, I would say, presumptuous to send your song to a woman that you've not even met before you even go on your first date after you've flaked out on her. That feels like somebody is telling you who they are from the very beginning. Thank you, Oprah. Thank you, Maya Angelou.
Maya Angelou, if someone tells you that they are, at the beginning, you believe them.
So I'm going to be honest, you kind of butchered it.
When someone tells you who they are, believe them. The first time.
The first time.
Yes.
Believe them the first time. So to me, he's telling you who he is, and who he is a guy that isn't fully responsible. I just think there's a time and a place for those kind of shares, and the first share shouldn't come, I don't know, before the first time you meet the person.
Those kind of shares.
It's true.
All right. Well,
It's
thanks
true.
for supporting me.
I think you're very kind, and I don't think you owed him anything.
Okay. I feel also very excited to have the guest that we have here today, because I feel like she will have a hot take on this as someone who, I don't want to throw her to the wolves, but maybe has dated a musician or two. Among many other accomplishments.
I'm mostly just glad that we can stop pretending that she's sitting right there.
I mean, the good vibes are all coming from her.
Yes.
So today's friend is a hilarious,
The greatest.
Emmy-nominated actress and comedian who performed on SNL for 7 years.
Brilliant.
Portraying everyone from Miley Cyrus to Jennifer Aniston, not to mention her beloved Jacob the Bar Mitzvah Boy. She co-created, produced, and starred in Showtime's I Love That For You.
Which I loved.
We all did. Inspired by her childhood experiences with leukemia, she also wrote a children's book on that topic titled How Do You Care for a Very Sick Bear? You've seen her and loved her on everything from Barry to Brooklyn Nine-Nine to No Good Deed and so much more. Vanessa Bayer, you're here to make friends. Hi, Vanessa. Hello.
Hi,
wow,
you
I have
sweetheart.
so much to say.
You have so much to
About
say.
everything you've talked
I
about.
have really been wanting to tell you this because I feel like I please go.
Well, wait, before you go,
Okay.
I just want to, because we just talked about your incredible biography.
Yes.
Which Jessi, detailed many aspects of, but this book that you wrote called How Do You Care for a Very Sick Bear, you gifted to my daughter, and it is one of her favorite books.
That is so nice. This is so nice.
You're very nice, and she really loves it, and I honestly think it has made her a better person.
Oh
I really do, because it's a beautiful book. If you don't have it, you should get it.
It's a beautiful
for your
book.
child, and it really is just about how to be a friend to somebody who's going through a hard
Yeah.
time. And I think it's a wonderful book that teaches empathy and friendship and support. And every time she wants to read it, it makes me so proud of her.
That's so nice. And I will say that book it's about like if you have a friend who's sick, that you should like show up for them. Like don't let, like the thing that I think as adults we often do, and I'm saying this because I just did it last week and one of our other friends reminded me not to do it. And I was like, oh, I wrote a book about this. Is like you want to like give the person who's going through something space, but that's actually more, I think, often about you being scared and not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
Then it like let that person ask for space. Basically, don't smother them, but be right there for them, and then they can tell you if they want space.
I think that's a great.
And at the party that that you got very drunk at,
Which could refer to both
which
parties.
could refer to either party, and I'd like to talk about both.
Okay.
I had just found out that a mutual friend's child is sick, and our friend Jessica St. Clair mentioned it to me, asked if I knew about it, and I was like, yes, I want to. I reached out to them, but I want to give them. And she was like, why would you give them space? And I was like, you're right. Why would I give them space?
Yeah.
I need to like reach out to them again. Of course, like it is an easy thing to fall into, even as someone who, again, fully wrote a book about not doing it.
Yeah, but it's also, I think we also assume that the other person doesn't need us, or
Yes. Yeah.
that like
Yeah.
we'd be imposing our care onto them, when in truth, when you're going through a difficult time, there's like no amount of care
Yes,
that
exactly.
isn't welcome. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring the chat down.
No, not at all.
I just thought it's such a beautiful book, and it's so great for kids, and I'm so grateful that you gave it to my daughter so that she could be a better person.
Oh, it's so nice.
It is
It's
a really
just
beautiful
true.
book.
Let's get back to the shit talking, huh?
Yeah, can we move on from the beautiful book and your child to the trail of tears I've left on this internet dating app? No, I don't know, Vanessa. What do you think? Should I have been nicer?
No, I think it's okay. I think maybe just to give a different POV on this.
Please.
He might have sent you that song thinking like, now she'll understand why I canceled on her. Like those things might have been like related. Like here's what I was up to while I had to now. But as someone who has played the part so many times from dating like musicians and stuff, of being like, oh, hon, this song's so good. It does. And sometimes and I do think when you like someone, you inherently like what they do, but it is tough when you've like not even met the person yet,
that's
and you're
tough.
already being put in a position of being like, baby, you're going to make it. So
This is the one.
I actually was so impressed. I have to say, I was so impressed by your ability to recognize that's what was happening, and your ability to be like, I'm too old for this. Because I think I'm such a major people pleaser.
I mean, who am
I
I?
think that it's hard for me sometimes to recognize my feelings about things, because I'm so like, this feels like a little weird, but I want this person to feel nice, so I'm just going to do the thing that feels like that will help them. And I do think you're right. Like I'm really impressed by that. Like I think you're right that it's weird for him to sort of put you in that space where you have to be like, here's something that I will say.
Please.
I think you could, if you have any interest left in him at all, which you might not.
Probably not.
But I think if you did, you could write him and say, like, do you still want to meet up? And not even recognize the song. It seems like as I'm looking at you, this is not even.
What? Is it my face just slowly melting off of my own neck?
Yeah.
No, well, as I was having my own internal, first of all, thank you. I feel very seen by everything you're saying. As I was like, oh, is it bad that I'm not writing back? I mean, he never wrote back to me. Like
you.
To me.
Yeah.
Like, because I felt like I had been like, yes, let's do it. I'll see you another time. We were still into it. And then it kind of got compounded by the fact that when I did not compliment his song, he pieced out.
I think that song was his litmus test for you. I think he was sending you that song to be like, is she willing to be this person for me who's going to listen to this music, receive this gift of song, and how is she going to react to this?
Song.
Yeah. Well, and I think I'm just thinking in his shoes, like if I'm audacious enough to send this song to somebody, I am either testing them or I really want to hear their input.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead.
Well, no. I was just going to say, I think for each of us as a creative woman in the biz, as Vanessa was saying, like we are all friends with other comedians and writers and artists and so on. And I feel like I'm always so hyper aware of not wanting to like make anyone look at anything I've done. Like even my closest friends, like if I have to ask someone to read something, I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yes, you are like
and
that.
I also,
I think you are too much like that.
I agree.
Really?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think you should be way
Now this feels
prouder
like an
of
attack.
yourself. Sorry. It's an intervention.
Yeah, actually, I'm so glad. This is not even a podcast at all.
I don't know.
Dr. Levin, can you come in?
Oh
and
no,
we can start-
11.
Yeah, well,
You're
I
so
thought,
tough.
Yeah, you're welcome. No, you are very overly cautious / modest, I think, about your talents, but also wanting to ask for stuff from your friends. Like, you know, you asked me to read a chapter in your latest book, and it was like, I would have done it behind your back.
Right, I needed to know if lesbians would be mad about it.
That's right, yes. And I'm not going to lie to you, it's not the first time a friend has sent me a chapter from their book to make sure that lesbians wouldn't be mad at them.
They just need to check in.
I guess I sort of have a little bit of a
And
niche.
by the way,
Yep.
you gave a couple good notes in there.
Yes, I sure did.
And I made some tweaks.
You're welcome. But you know, yeah, you really, that's a whole separate thing.
But I feel like everyone here, am I wrong, is like, not that no one should be apologetic about being
I'm a
like,
little prouder of myself.
as you should be.
Maybe you
as
are.
you should be. Are you
You
kidding
might
me?
be.
Can we talk about the
This
weather
might be
girl
true.
on SNL for a second?
Oh my
That
God.
character, I know we're all over the place here, but now listen, when you were doing the weather girl on SNL's Weekend Update, which is a not so confident weather girl who is totally losing the script on what she's supposed to be saying, it is to me one of the funniest bits I've ever seen.
Aww.
It is one of the only bits that I rewound to watch over and over again. I said rewind. I don't even know if that's a word we use anymore.
Right up there with Gigolo.
Yeah, it's right up there with Gigolo. But I loved that bit. You can ask Rachel. That's my wife.
great bit.
It's such a
That's
great
so
bit.
nice.
I love that bit. Could you just tell us a little bit about what the weather's going to be tomorrow?
Okay. Well, we've got a chance of sun, rays, and sun. That's right. And everybody, get your umbrellas out because this time it's sun, and you'll bet it's coming high and wide. And that's a laughs for. And tap. Go down and do it. Prayer.
Oh my God.
You know,
So brilliant.
That's a bear.
It's like,
Jeremy and I used to write that because it was based on
Oh my
on the
God.
way that I would just talk to him in our office, and we tried to do it a bunch of different ways before it was a weather woman.
Oh, it's brilliant.
It was supposed to be
good.
at first. It was going to be she was going to be the host of a really high tech game show, like a where there's like lights and it's like and then it's like it introduces everyone in a really like slick way, and then they introduce me and I come out and I'm talking like that.
That's so funny.
And it made it to dress rehearsal once, and then it got cut, and then it almost made it cut, and then I can't remember. I think it was like Colin's idea maybe to do it as a weather woman.
So
and
smart. It's so
we
great.
Were off to the
Very
races.
funny.
And you just were so funny on SNL the whole way through. And that's a tough place to work, as I think some of us, have heard.
Yes, yeah.
And a very competitive place. And, you're always not sure if you're going to be back next season. And, I'm sure it feels like you're in competition with especially the other women. Like, how was that socially for you? Was it hard to make friends there? And did you have like a best friend at SNL?
Well, I bonded with Taran Killam right away. Like, we really hit it off.
Yeah.
And
Did you start the same year?
we started the same year, and it was so funny because we are from such he has like kind of called me out on like I say this so much that he's like, we're not from that different of worlds, because I'm always like, we are from opposite worlds. But I remember when we were both called, like we both I think must have auditioned at the same time, but we both got called back to do like meetings with Lorne and everybody like a couple weeks after we had auditioned. And I remember we both waited. We were waiting in the like talent area to meet with Lorne, like one-on-one.
Is Lauren someone who works there? Sorry.
And you're saying Lauren,
That's
right?
Lauren?
Lauren.
Yeah.
Okay.
She sounds sweet.
Sorry.
LOL.
Cut it out.
And
shot.
the people in the talent department were asking Taran about his wife, Kobe Smulders, who was on How I Met Your Mother, and they were like, "Is your wife filming right now?" And Taran's like, "Well, we're like in my mind, it was like wife's Hollywood. We live in Hollywood, cool. Like and I'm coming from like the Midwest, and I have no." I'm like Taran's wife is on TV and Taran lives in Hollywood. Like I'm like, what the hell? I'm from Ohio. I live in Chicago, and all I do is like, I don't know, eat cheese. What do you do in the Midwest? So I remember just being like, what? Like this guy knows like the biz so much more than me, I guess is what I'm saying. But anyway, he and I instantly hit it off because he's such a little sweetie angel, and he's so funny. And
He is so funny.
He's really one of the funniest people I've ever met. If you ever do karaoke with him, he does an impression of the person whose song he's doing. So he's not just like singing; he's impersonating that musician as well. It's really fun. Anyway, so we became friends instantly. And then the other thing that was just crazy is the whole time when I got hired at SNL, I was like, this takes a lot of emotional, like you have to be very emotionally evolved to like succeed at this show, because there is so many up and downs and whatever, and you have to be like so funny and so emotionally evolved. And I was like the only person that I really comes to mind that I feel like would really absolutely destroy here is A.D. Bryant, who was a good friend of mine. And then 2 years later, who gets hired?
A.D. Bryant.
A.D. Bryant.
80.
Also hilarious.
Yeah. And it had nothing to do with me. Like they wouldn't have cared. I'm sure I told them that she was great and they didn't listen to me.
Yeah, that friend that you have there in a workplace like that, or kind of I feel like any difficult workplace, I feel like that's having worked at many, including SNL,
Yes.
where
Did you have a go-to person when you were at SNL?
I had such a weird experience there because I got hired sort of late into the season, and so I didn't like start at the same time as everyone else. And so
Okay.
by the time
That's easy.
I got there, yeah, it was a little bit.
It's like being a
setup
transfer your senior year.
It was a little like being a transfer senior year, but there were so many sweeties there, and I knew Jenny Slate already, who I adored, and she was there, and
Let's get her on the pod.
we got to get.
Oh,
we
she's
absolutely
so great.
will get Jenny Slate on the spot. But it was it was hard to connect in just because it was transfer.
Yeah.
student
yeah, that's
vibes.
hard.
Yeah.
That's hard.
But also I do feel like along the way of my 70-year career, like there's no friend like the friend that you make in like a sort of traumatic work situation.
Absolutely. Well, it's like trauma bonding. For
Trauma
sure.
bonding.
I have old friends from writers' rooms, that we are still to this day really tight because of what we went through together and how we had to cling to each other in a difficult workplace environment, and how we still root for each other.
Yes.
Because we feel like survivors in some weird way. And by the way, it's important to note that you and I started as workplace friends.
Yes, but that was not a traumatic workspace, just to be very clear.
Thank you. I'm
in
glad.
fact, that was one of the nicest ones I've ever been in.
That's so nice to hear. But no, we started as workplace friends, and then it's like taking that workplace friend and making them a real, life friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a whole
that moment
transition.
where you're like, hey, you want to get out of here?
Yeah. Exactly.
You want to take this out of Rockefeller Center? Go take a spin around the anthropology? I feel like that was something that I did with that would be like a step to friendship.
Yeah, that was a step
when
to
you
friendship.
were at SNL, because there was an anthropology downstairs.
That
When we
makes
were
sense.
stressed out, we would go walk around either there or Saks.
Yeah, no, I didn't ever work there. I never worked at SNL, so but I did test.
They're lost.
Oh, right.
Yes, I did test. I did not get to work there, is what happened. But
it seems like it worked out.
I think it worked out okay.
I think everything's
No, it was
going fine.
honestly, testing for SNL was a dream. It was great.
Yeah,
It was so great. I was so excited to do that. And weirdly also excited not to get the job.
Yeah, it feels like that is the right attitude. It's like you got to do this thing that so few people get to do, but then you got to do all this other great stuff that's like.
You want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
Had I gotten the job, wouldn't have met and fallen in love with my wife.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I haven't met my person yet, because I was fucking doing that job for 7 years.
Oh no!
Sorry, I used the term my person.
Oh, not fucking. Fucking is fine. It's a.
Oh yeah,
We'll bleep out my
I
person.
actually think my person's pretty good. I'm not mad at my person.
I don't know.
either.
It feels a little like.
It feels a little fur baby. Who saved who?
Yes, it's a little who saved who.
It feels a little all the things.
It does. It does.
All the feels.
Yeah, it does give me all the
I have
feels.
all the feels about my person.
Yeah.
Who is my fur baby?
It's giving me, it's
Feels a
giving
little,
me.
How are you doing, Mama?
Oh my God. Okay, wait, we're about to get into some real hardballs.
Yes.
Vanessa, you famously talk about your best friend, Gwen.
Gwen.
Yeah.
In a way that is so sweet. And when we were working together on Greatest Show Ever, I love that for you.
Which
Maybe on
will
par with
come
No
back.
Good Deed.
We have written the second season. I will fight for it to come back, even if it's not for 5
it's
years.
coming
Fight,
back,
fight,
honey.
fight.
Yeah.
A show starring Matt Rogers, just like No Good Deed, one of
the
the
best.
finest we have. Anyways, I feel like maybe that's when I first started hearing about Gwen. And then Gwen became like, I felt like you just talked about Gwen so adorably and sweetly and so consistently. I felt like by the time I met Gwen, I truly felt like I was meeting a huge celebrity.
I
was
feel
just like,
nervous
oh
to
my
meet
God,
her.
Gwen! Like I lost her. She looms so large.
Yeah.
She
And
really
so-
does. I feel nervous to meet her. Like,
oh my
I don't
God,
know if I
hope you
want
get
to meet her.
when she's in town. I didn't even think about that. We have to figure that out.
Maybe we can have a little meal
I
with
know.
Gwen
Oh my
as
God, that
part
would
of
be
the pod.
so
And we'll shoot
fun.
it on our iPhone.
Because I too have been hearing about Gwen for the few years that we've been
Yes.
friends, and I so love and respect and think it's so sweet and very telling of you as a human being that you have this person in your life. Speaking of my person, that you have this amazing friend in your life that
You've
is
been friends with for so long.
for so long.
Yeah.
So how old were you when you met?
We met.
Tell us the Gwen origins.
Okay.
Yes, please.
I think that Gwen and I probably met somewhere around like 3rd or 4th grade, but we were in the same homeroom class in 5th grade. We had this teacher, Mr. Evans, and it was his first year, and we really bullied him. I mean, we really he let us do whatever we wanted. Anyway, the point is, but one of the bullies of him was not Gwen, because Gwen was painfully shy. She was so shy, and every day. So here I am, and you might imagine I'm quite outgoing, and Gwen is like this thin, tall, blonde girl who's wearing like she wore like these Gap jeans that were like, I don't need to get into every detail. We'll be here for 20 years.
I kind of want to hear about
But
this
she'd
Jean.
wear like, because she was so thin, like they always looked like sort of like there was always like too much room in them. Anyway, the point
it was
is,
belted.
It was yeah. And her mom just bought her, I think, every patterned turtleneck that Talbot's kids sold. So it was like every day she'd come to school with like a turtleneck that had like cherries all over it, or like little cats all over it, or whatever.
Amazing.
And so Gwen and I, like, we became fast friends, and it was so. It would be like Gwen would say one. Okay, this is my favorite Gwen story. Okay. When Gwen first slept over my house, we had like a sleepover. And basically we were hanging out, and then she's like, and then it's like bedtime, and she's like, I'm gonna go change into my PJs, like my mom, like my like grandma nightgown. And I was like, LOL. Okay. So I'm in my room, I change into like a t-shirt and boxer shorts, which is what 5th graders were wearing at the time.
Absolutely.
To sleep. Gwen comes out of my bathroom. She's wearing a floor-length flannel nightgown with a matching floor-length flannel robe over it.
Or they were going to say the hat.
But that wouldn't have been a stretch. But that's like what her mom gave. Like
That's incredible.
And it was,
Iconic.
I remember I was just in shock. I was like, this is so funny that someone actually like dresses like this or whatever. And then I think, if not the next day, every other time she, like multiple times when she would sleep over, like we'd get up and then I'd be like, do you want to do commercials into the mirror?
Do commercials?
And just knowing Gwen, not at all, but just on your description, I feel like that's not her thing.
Make up commercials and do them into the mirror.
Yeah, obviously.
Not like reenact movie scenes or TV stuff. Do you want to do commercials into the mirror?
If it's not famous yet, I'm about to be. I'm obsessed with commercials. Okay,
I mean,
I love them so much, and I would always do pretend ones growing up. But I'd be like,
good.
so Gwen, we're gonna do commercials, and Gwen's like, I don't want to do them, but I'll watch you do them. So Gwen would literally.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my God! I just started
I
crying
know,
so
I know.
hard.
Well, because you and I are like, where was that friend for us when we were growing up?
I don't know. It's so sweet.
I'm
That is
doing
really
commercials into the mirror, and Gwen is watching. And by the way, the other thing she's kind of doing while she's watching is she's cleaning up my room.
No.
Stop it! Get out of
Oh my
this
God.
podcast area.
She's so organized.
That's incredible.
And she's so the opposite of me in a lot of ways. And because I'm in like this mess of a room, like doing commercials.
Wait, can you tell us, like, give me one commercial that you were doing that you remember?
I used to do a lot of, because at the time there were a lot of, these aren't your mother's tampons. But there was one for a card that I made up called a Pampy card, where you could like get all these, they were all kind of inspired by popular commercials.
I'm sorry, a Pampy card?
A Pampy card.
Let's go back to that for just a second.
Gwen actually loves to talk about the Pampy card one. It was like the Pampy card was like some kind of a credit card that got you like great points and great perks.
Does it have anything to do
and
with,
I think
with like Pampers or like?
No, I don't know where I got that name from, but I think I cut one out, and I was doing like most things were pantomimed. But so
as opposed to having like the full props.
Right.
Okay.
As opposed to like,
right, because you're a
but yeah,
child in your room.
Pampy card. And again, 5th grade, like I'm not like that young.
Yes, you are.
But I'm making up all these commercials and just doing them into the mirror, and she's watching. And honestly, this will make me cry, but like Gwen was also always such a good audience. Like she would laugh so much at anything I would do, and I think it gave me so much confidence to go into comedy. I don't even think I realized that until later. And also, Gwen is a nurse, and
Oh my God.
I know, and
Famously a nurse.
Famously a nurse. Her mom's a nurse. Her dad's a doctor. But Gwen is a nurse, and like one of her papers in nursing school, she like wrote about me when I was sick, and she was so like she was so supportive when I was sick and stuff, and
She knew how to care for a very sick bear.
She knew how to care for a very sick bear, and so in a lot of ways, that book really is about her, like a love letter to her. But there was something else I was going to say. Was it related to me doing commercials into the mirror?
I mean, I do have questions.
Oh, just that she would laugh so much at my jokes all the time, and she's such a good laugher. And I think it like
that's
she made
the
me
best.
It's the
Yeah.
best. It
It's
makes
the
you
best.
feel so funny. It's like
Yes.
when somebody does that. It's still, and it to me still, it's like my favorite thing in the world is making Gwen laugh. Like, I still will, like, truly, like, run into traffic if it will make Gwen laugh.
Well, maybe not.
That's amazing.
That's really great.
Yeah, it's
And I
important to
love
have that
When you were
person.
done with a commercial, would Gwen like clap?
She would just be, like, laughing and just, like, enjoying them. I mean, can you imagine someone just sitting watching you pantomime commercial? I mean, it was like and also the fact that I felt so comfortable doing that around her. Like, I would just be like, yeah, I'm just going to pantomime into the mirror if you wanted to.
As she,
Take
once
20.
again,
Cleaning
up
your room.
As she cleaned up my room. As she cleaned up my room.
when you got SNL and you called Gwen, like, did
Oh my
everyone's
God.
head explode?
Everyone. Well, there was one time when Gwen, I remember, visited me in Chicago, and I was like, and she was coming to visit me, and I had just auditioned for a commercial, and I was like, wait, I had to go to a commercial audition or there was something, and she was like, I was like, I'm so sorry that I have to do this while you're here, and she was like, Vanessa, this is like, it's so cool, like, you're going to do a commercial, like, it's like, this is like what we would do in your room. Like, oh, I'm happy to be here for that. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, when I mean, and I will say the thing that also was incredible about Gwen when I was on SNL was like, at that time she lived in Washington, D.C. And I truly think that she was at like 50% of my SNL shows. And Jonah, my brother, was too. Like, and because he was in New York at the time. But yeah, Gwen would come in. It was like she would take the train in. Everybody at SNL knew Gwen. It's so funny because we went back in April. Ryan Gosling was hosting, and we went back and everybody knew Gwen.
That's
like
so
it's like
great.
Yeah.
it's like whenever
She's like your Gail.
Yes,
Like,
she really
yeah.
is.
Like,
Yeah.
as I say that, I don't want to like. Part of what I think is beautiful about Oprah and Gail, finally getting to what we really want to talk about, is that I do feel like Oprah, like you, spends so much time kind of honoring Gail.
Yes.
And it's not just like,
Yes.
oh, my sidekick best friend Gail. Like, she loves Gail so much and talks about Gail
She
constantly.
just threw Gail a surprise party.
I'm
saw
obviously thinking about the
that.
reel of the surprise party.
The surprise party reel is incredible if you haven't seen it.
It's such a little love letter to Gail.
It is. And it always would bother me that there were these like rumors that they were a romantic couple, like as if it's not possible to just be friends with somebody and root for them and love them unapologetically. Like, that's what real friendship is.
Today's the day we're going to find out they're lovers. You're going to feel like a real piece of shit, dum-dum.
Don't hate it.
Yeah, I mean, would be thrilled either way. At peace either way.
So I think it's important to say, obviously, we're both friends with you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And
Thank
we're
you.
friends with each other, but this is the first time the three of us have ever hung out
Isn't that crazy?
together.
I'm not minding it.
I'm not minding
like it a lot.
either. I really
I
like it.
I think we could,
Make this a thing.
make it a thing.
Should we go to Squirrel?
I am not kidding you. We had squirrel for lunch.
We did order squirrel.
We did
for
order
lunch.
squirrel for lunch.
Oh my God.
No jam.
Mine is fermenting in the other room, and I'm going to eat it for dinner.
That's so good. It's fermented.
It is already fermented.
But I'm so happy to finally triangulate
Yes.
this friendship
Yes.
and be all together. Is there someone other than us, obviously, that you want to be friends with? Like, do you have your sights set on like a potential new
You know
friend?
what?
Could be a celeb, could be somebody we don't know.
I'm going to pick a celeb just so that it makes it more interesting for the audience because
Okay.
they might not know. I just want to preface this by saying when a woman of my age would host SNL when I was there, who was successful, like Anne Hathaway, Scarlett Johansson, Emma Stone,
okay.
any of those, I would immediately try to become best friends with them
I love
because
it.
I'd be like, this is like me, except they've got it together. And I actually think they read the sort of desperation in me, but also I think they warmed to it, all of them. And I will say, one of the things that I was sort of like my thing at SNL among the cast and like writers and stuff was that you sort of like in a love, it's like the way that you showed your love to me was like to lightly bully me. And I say bully in the nicest way. And I think it was like the second time that Scarlett Johansson hosted, she did start doing that. Like she was sort of like, oh, Vanessa, you know what I mean? And I was like, she's my best friend and I'm so thrilled. But so I just want to say that That is in me of like, I have to become best friends with these people.
I think it's a very common feeling.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would feel the same exact way.
Because you know what I mean? You're just like, wow, what it would be like to be like they like a lot of the same things that I do, but like they're not going to take the cupcake or whatever. Like they're going to leave
But
the
I
party.
can have all of the cookies.
Like,
What do you mean they're not going to take the cupcake?
They're going to leave the birthday party without like having to eat a piece of cake. Like they have like much better like self-control. They're also like, they're not going to like stay up all night watching TV. They're going to be like, it's 9:30, I'm going to sleep. Like, it just seems like they make choices like that, but they're still really fun.
Oh, yeah, it's like a friend making healthy choices.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. I mean,
Then also they're going to bring like a really nice like vase to like a party where I'm like, here's some flowers in my backyard or something.
You like carnations, right?
So it's like an aspirational friendship where you're like, maybe some of this will rub off on me, and I'll become more of like a full adult woman by being friends with them.
Exactly.
Sometimes I feel an actual sadness about when I think about like celebrity women, and I'll say it, men, who I just feel like if they really got to know me,
Luke Wilson,
we would be such good friends. And the only thing standing in the way of that is really their celebrity.
Right.
But
right.
Like it's hard. Like I'm like, if I met Meryl Streep, I just feel like we'd hit it off.
I have that feeling all the time about people.
But it's hard because she's famous. But if she could just get past it,
Right.
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, if she could get over herself.
If she could fucking get off her high fucking horse. No, you know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, I just know we're kind of essentially the same.
Yes. I guess I haven't given you a person, but I gave you a sense of the type of person. Does that?
I think Emma Stone, ScarJo.
Yeah.
Those are, I mean.
That feels right.
That feels right.
Yeah.
Anyone in that. Yeah.
Was there ever one where you like truly, like you made a host friend off of SNL?
I feel like you have.
Oh,
I feel like you definitely have.
You have.
Oh.
Yes.
Why? How'd you get that watch?
How'd you get the watch, Vanessa?
I guess I did a commercial with Ryan Gosling.
What?
Excuse me?
And you met him because?
He hosted SNL.
And then it seems like
and then
couldn't get you off
he did
his
want me
mind.
to be on this commercial with him.
And
So
close
you
friends.
went from being a little girl making up commercials in your mirror with your best friend laughing at you to
As she
doing
cleaned your
a
room.
commercial with your best friend Ryan
Ryan
Gosling.
That's right.
Not
That's
in a mirror.
pretty amazing.
I'm going to say a giant soundstage.
I'm going to say it too. I'm going to say it wasn't even perhaps in this hemisphere.
It was in Australia.
Down under.
That's pretty
and there
amazing.
that was the first time I ever did. I guess that's not true because I did some at SNL, but it was the first time I ever did any kind of stunt work.
That's so fun.
I loved your stunt work in that commercial, and
you
that's
so
the
much.
truth.
That commercial's
That's the
fantastic.
And that
honest
was me
truth.
jumping onto the moving car. Just kidding. But also, can I say something about stunt
Yes.
people? The stunt people were so great. And the one woman who was my stunt double was like, I was like, oh my God, what you guys do is so scary. And she was like, what you do is so scary. And I was like, you're wrong.
Yeah, a little different, hun.
You're right.
Yeah, you're risking your life. I might embarrass myself.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, final question.
Yeah.
We're doing a little segment where we talk about our ravioli moments that we've had with our friends, which for me was, we called it a ravioli moment because I was pregnant and I wasn't feeling well, and my best friend got on the subway for an hour and came to visit me and brought me ravioli and made me ravioli.
Which is about the sweetest thing you could do.
I mean, there's so many.
Which says a lot about you that you have that many friends that would.
Well,
sure
it's
does.
but
That would do that for you.
well, what I'm saying that, and as I'm having trouble thinking of one, so sorry. I guess the one that came to my mind first, and it's gonna make me cry. Sorry, this is an emotional podcast too.
Yes, it is.
It is.
But when I was sick, I had, I got diagnosed over a spring break of 9th grade. And I missed like the last quarter of 9th grade or whatever, and I had a tutor. I'm giving you all these details that you don't need. But
I knew.
but then the next spring or something, I hadn't quite come back to school yet, the next fall, I hadn't quite come back to school yet, but there were like football games, and I was going to like go to a football game, and I hadn't seen anyone in a while. I will say I felt quite good about my looks because I had lost a lot of weight, which from chemo, but also you're like a teenager, so you're like,
Okay.
Am I incredible? Chiseled.
And also, I had always wanted straight hair. I was always straightening my curly hair. And I had this like long straight wig. So it was like the longest, straightest hair I'd ever had. And I was like,
more than the yarn.
this is yeah. But so I remember Gwen went with me to a football game. And it was like, because I was sort of immunocompromised and stuff, it was like, I couldn't really hug anyone. I couldn't really like but like she like took me I like went to this football game with her, and she sort of was like my bodyguard and like kind of like taking me around and like whatever. And people were, I think, kind of impressed by how I looked, because people thought I was gonna look, I had makeup on and stuff too. Like I was really like, this is my moment to come out skinny.
Were people expecting like FDR with like a blanket over his lap?
I don't know what they were expecting. Yeah. And also, like, it was just like, it was so sweet. And by the way, a dynamic that has stuck, like, because if you think about it, like, Gwen would always do that for me. And Gwen would do it for me when I was on SNL. Like, when I would go places with her, she still kind of does, she would, like, do it. Like, I remember just many times we've been out to dinner with other friends or doing things, and people will sort of be like looking at me or like trying to take a picture, like when I first got on SNL or like forever. But but she puts this like guard up where she sort of is like blocks
She's your
people
protector.
from yeah. And so, but I feel like that dynamic sort of started with that, and. Yeah, and so I just, like, I remember being at that football game and feeling, like, so nice that, like, I had Gwen with me. So it was, like, that was, like, it was so cool to be protected by someone who's, like, like, not your parent or something doesn't make it makes you feel, like, cool because you're with, like, this cool person. Because the other thing that I haven't said is, like, Gwen also became very cool in high school. Like, she kind of broke out of her shell. I famously say that I'm responsible for that and, like, responsible for her personality and stuff, which is a bit. I'm not responsible for her personality. But, like, I feel like I would like to take some responsibility for her sort of, like, becoming less shy.
No, I mean, Gwen is incredibly cool.
She's incredibly cool.
And
she was very cool in high school.
I have no doubt that you have given her as many sort of memorable friendship moments.
What?
But I mean, seriously, I'm sure she does, she does feel the influence of having a friend that's so funny and outgoing and that I'm sure gave her encouragement to, like, get out of her shell.
That's so nice. I hope so, because she's given me so much. I feel like I if I could give her half of what she's given me, it would be so great.
Really sweet. Can we meet Gwen?
Yeah, you've got to meet Gwen. She's going to be here next week. You got to meet her.
We should have a follow-up drink with Gwen. This will be one of our first successes of getting it off the pod.
Yeah, getting it off the pod into the
out
the
of
bar.
my dreams and into my
you know what? If we meet Gwen,
into the anthropology.
When I meet Gwen, I will record it so that we can at least maybe play back a little bit of the meeting of Gwen, and because she feels like it's like I'm meeting Cher. Yeah, it's like a one-name wonder.
Yes.
You know?
She does. It's a Madonna. It's a Cher. It's a Gwen.
It's a Gwen. Vanessa, gosh, we love you so much. I'm going to speak for her and just say we love you so much.
We do love you so much, and thanks for being on.
Here to make friends.
Here to make friends.
And thanks for being my newest friend.
Oh my God, I'm so happy to be your newest friend.
It's so great, and also you're my wife's friend, and I really appreciate that too.
Oh my God, your wife is so fantastic, and you got to know that at that party that you referenced much earlier on, we were talking about UFOs quite a bit.
Ironically, I just did Casey Wilson's podcast and Danielle Schneider's podcast, and she also told me that she was talking about aliens with my wife. So
look, it's top of mind always.
It is top of mind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Drones, quote unquote.
Shoot them down on that. On that note,
protect us, please protect us. Okay.
Thanks, Vanessa Bayer.
Thank you so, Vanessa Bayer.
Is there anything you would like to plug or promote, or some way we can see you or enjoy you currently?
Or just even hear you?
Oh my God! Well, I'd like to promote the podcast I do with my brother,
which is fantastic.
So great. Thank you so much. It's called How Did We Get Weird? You can listen to it wherever you get your podcasts, and both of you have been guests on it.
That's correct.
I'd love to visit again.
As is Gwen. I'd like to say you're going to see me here and there and different
And everywhere.
Keep your eyes open, I'd
And
say.
at Squirrel next week with us.
What's that?
And at Squirrel next
and
week
at
with
Squirrel
us.
next week with us.
Thanks so much for listening to Here to Make Friends. Please follow us on social media at Here to Make Friends Pod and let us know who you think we should be friends with next. Email us at htmfpod@gmail.com and go out and make a friend.
Make a friend today.
That was a Headgum podcast.